So family, what's good with you? It's your boy 2A in LA, and as always fam, anything I say in this episode, prior episodes, and future episodes is just my personal opinion. Don't take it as fact, don't take it as law. Always do your own homework and come up with your own conclusions. Right about now fam, I should go ahead and tap that like button for your boy. If you're new to the channel, I want to say welcome. Come on in. You can join the congregation by smashing that subscribe button and requesting all post notifications. And if you are an existing supporter of this channel, I appreciate you more than you can possibly imagine. You are the reason this channel is anything. Alright fam, let's get this episode rolling. So this is one I've been waiting on for quite some time. Look fam, in the state of California, this 2011 game, and really this high-end firearm game, is complex to navigate. A lot of times there's very little rhyme or reason into how I can acquire some guns seemingly relatively easy, and some guns are more of a challenge. Typically, if covert carries them, then I've got an automatic in. If I can forge a relationship with the gun manufacturers directly, then sometimes that's an avenue that's available to me. But sometimes, as is the case with kind of like Bull Armory, just seemingly impossible to get in the state of California. Another company that has been very, very evasive in terms of my ability to acquire one is the Fowler Vanta series. And I've had my eye on it for a while. I probably, if I'm being honest, could have acquired one prior to now, but timing is kind of everything. Sometimes maybe an opportunity to pick up one was available, but I had 3 or 4 other guns that were all coming in at that time, and financially I just couldn't make the numbers work or whatever, and other guns were a priority. Well, everything kind of aligned. Everything kind of aligned for me on this one. And what's funny is I recently, not too long ago, joined a Fowler Discord, and there was a lot of information about upcoming drops and things like that that's available on the Discord. So they had a drop, it was coming up, and there's only one Fowler dealer out here in the state of California, and typically Fowler runs all their California guns through that dealership. And you know, look fam, I've talked to you guys ad nauseum about everything that you have to go through here in the state of California to acquire a firearm, any firearm. And consequently, there's always additional charges that we in California have to incur in addition to, you know, kind of sales tax. They have the California excise tax, and they got, you know, background check fees and this fees and that. Man, it just so happens that to acquire one through, I guess, a traditional channel would have cost me like $2,500 or something like that at the end of the day over what the MSRP is. And I was kind of, at that point, we're getting into kind of infinity territory, and it made me kind of pause. And I said, okay, Alan, use your brains, use your intellect, leverage your relationships. And lo and behold, I was able to acquire a ported Vanta 9 for what the normal MSRP would be. And that was just phenomenal for me. And then with that additional money I saved, I put that towards other acquisitions that you're going to see on the channel coming soon. But I am ecstatic to be able to bring you the Fowler Vanta 9. I did feel like not having a Fowler was kind of a hole in my collection. You know, And I just felt like I needed to have one, at least one, to check that box. I may pick up the commander length one at some point in time, but this is the full size. It's got that upgraded Valentine grip on it. The gun is ported. Now, here's the thing, fam. Depending on who you talk to, I think it is commonly accepted that Fowler makes a really good quality 2011. I think the question comes in like, how quality? Where would you what's the comp for Fowler? Now, some people would argue that Fowler is right in that mid-tier. When I did my my 2A NLA 2025 tiers, I had Fowler at an all-star level, which was kind of just below Hall of Fame and GOAT status. A lot of people thought that that was right. Some people felt like they should have been higher. It was difficult for me to opine on it because I didn't own one. Now, prior to the tier, I did get an opportunity. I found somebody out here in California who owned the full size as well as the shorty. And so I did get an opportunity to shoot them. I knew it was a good shooter. But there's a difference, fam, between running 50 rounds through a gun and having your own gun where you can put 1,000 or a couple thousand rounds through it, right? To really get a sense of it. Now, one of the criticisms that people have about Fowler is that when you first get it, the tolerances are really tight. There's a break-in period. You've got to kind of work them in. Very similar to my experience with Type A EG11 and the Legion Precision Chirac. And so I gotta say, fam, buttery smooth. Now, there's been about 300 rounds or so put through the gun before I got it. So maybe some of that has worked itself off in that time frame. But there's no doubt that the machining, the fit and feel of the gun is really good. I really like the Valentine grip. I think aesthetically, it's a much sexier grip than the original. If I can find a picture, I'll put up a picture of what the original grip looks like. I also feel like it's tackier and it feels better in the hands for me. So I'm enjoying the grip. Like I said, machining is very well done. The gun is ported. Trigger, I'll let you take that out. Just a tad bit of take up. Crisp, clean break. Reset. It's a nice trigger. It's a nice trigger. Again, this is not meant to be a review. It's really just kind of a first impressions video. And my first impressions is I'm thrilled. Look, I'll say this about Fowler. I think, and this is just my opinion, I say this at the beginning of every video, right? I think, just my opinion, in terms of aesthetics, in terms of how the firearm looks, I don't think there are very many 2011s out there that are more aesthetically pleasing than the Fowler. I think they do an excellent job with this design. It looks stunning in all black. When you see people with the FDE, it looks beautiful as well. So aesthetically, I feel like Fowler can hold its own with any gun that's out there. Now, when it comes to fit and finish, machining, shootability, all that stuff we'll get into when we do the review. But just my initial impressions, I think the gun is stunning aesthetically. It feels really, really good in the hands. I can't wait to get it out on the range. And so job number one is just to kind of give you kind of my initial impressions, and I'm excited, fam. I'm excited. We have, and I think most of you guys may know this, but there's like a 10-day wait period between the time that you can fill out your paperwork on the gun in California and pick it up. And usually I can tell like how I'm going to feel about a gun by how anxious I am during that 10-day waiting period. Sometimes that 10 days flies by, I don't even realize it's coming. Other days, because I want to get the gun in my hand so bad, I'm just sitting like looking at the calendar, looking at my watch, like, when is this thing coming? I was like that with the Fowler. I couldn't wait to get it. I couldn't wait to get it in my hands. I can't wait to get it out to the range. I'm going to make a series of videos featuring the Fowler because so many people have very different opinions about the gun. I should say, look, I think everybody, without a doubt, thinks it's a really good gun, a really good manufactured gun. There is the Fowler Discord who thinks this gun should be ranked up there with the best of the best of the best of the best. Other people look at it as a fine gun, but more of a mid-tier gun. I always say the truth usually lies somewhere in between that. But what I'm planning on doing is, number one, we're doing this video. This is, like I said, just an initial impressions video. We're going to do a full review, put it through the paces, put at least 1,000 rounds through it. And I'm going to bring you the 2A NLA scoring system. And we'll see where it lines up relative to how the gun scores, right? And then I'm going to start doing some comparisons, fam. I'm going to bring out a lot of the guns that I feel are kind of in that mid-tier space. Quality firearms, and we'll see how they match up. I'm going to bring out guns like the Legion Precision Chirac, which I think is an excellent firearm and very well made, and to me kind of reminiscent of the Fowler. I'm going to bring out my upgraded Staccato XC with that aluminum grip and red dirt trigger, and with that awesome comp and staccato machining. Can it go toe-to-toe with the Fowler? Does it feel better than the Fowler? I'll let you know. I'll let you know. And again, it's all just my personal opinion, and that, and you know, $2 to get you a newspaper. But we're going to talk about it, right? I'm going to bring out my Race City Defense RC9, which is a phenomenal shooting gun. And we'll see how it stacks up to the Fowler. I'm going to bring out what I think could be the closest competitor to the Fowler, and that is the Combat Precision Dark Horse, comped and ported. Yeah, you guys know I love this firearm. Let's see. I think the 4 guns that I discussed here arguably could be comparable to the Fowler. We'll see. I haven't shot the Fowler yet, but to hear other people talk kind of in the Discord and in other places too, it's not just the Fowler Discord, people put Fowler way up there. Now some people are like, well, Fowler gets a lot of its parts and a lot of the manufacturing done elsewhere, and so, you know, some people feel like that's a knock. I don't. At the end of the day, you put it out, your gun, your brand, you're responsible for that brand. The same way I wouldn't give them a pass if some of the manufacturing that's done elsewhere were poor. I wouldn't be like, well, it's not Fowler's. No, it's Fowler's. Fowler's name. So it's their gun in my book. So that's kind of my opinion about that. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to run I don't have it in yet, but hopefully I will in short order. We're going to run this against the Cardinal. A lot of similar DNA between the Fowler Vanta and the Cardinal. So we'll put those two head to head and see how they fare. And look, it would not surprise me one bit if the Fowler is as good, if not better, as all of these guns. Certainly there are opinions out there by people who would know that might agree with that assessment. Okay, so then if that's the case, let's run them up against some of the heavy hitters. Let's see how it stacks up against a Hayes with that ported island barrel. Let's see how Fowler stacks up against them. Let's put it up against the Atlas Apollo, comparable gun, right? Let's see how Fowler stacks up head to head against the Apollo. Let's put it up against Venom and see, if it can hang stride for stride with a Venom Customs gun. And a lot of people aren't going to like this, but hey, let's put it up against my upgraded Terran Tactical Sandviper. Of Terran Tactical guns share a lot of DNA with Fowler and Cardinal. So let's see how it runs against that. Look, fam, I told you guys like a year ago when my collection was pretty much dominated by Atlas guns at the high end, the Nyx, the Apollo, the EOS, the Artemis, and the Erebus. I wanted to go on a quest to find the best of the best of the best of the best guns out there. That's what led me to Hayes. That's what led me to Venom. That's what led me to Infinity. And so I think that it's worthwhile. Most people are not going to buy 45, 20 11s, right? They're going to choose one. And I'm not saying they should choose the one that I pick, but I think it's helpful to have somebody who kind of has all the different guns and can give you some inspection, some introspective thoughts about them, and you can use that as one data point. I should not be the only data point. I should just be one data point, and then you go look at reviews that other people have done. 1911 Syndicate did a review on the Fowler. Sage Dynamics has done a review on the Fowler. My guy Jeff at the Weapon Collective just did kind of a head-to-head comparison between the Fowler Vanta 9 and the Cardinal. And like I said, a lot of same DNA running through those guns. You should hear what he had to say about that too. And so, look, fam, I think that this is going to be a fun couple of months. I am looking forward to putting a ton of rounds through the Fowler. I'm looking forward to putting and stacking it up against a lot of the other guns in my 2011 collection. I know some people say 2A in LA, we feel like you, with the tiers and everything, guns should just stand on their own. But when you have a platform like I have, what inevitably gets asked to me, there isn't a day that passes where I don't get somewhere between 5 to 10 DMs asking me, I'm buying the 2011, should I get the Venom or the Hayes? Should I get an Erebus or is an XC good enough? Should I get a Fowler or should I get Baba? Every day, fam. Every day, multiple times a day. And so a lot of you guys want these comparisons, and I'm here to give it to you. So that's what we're going to do. In the meantime, fam, look, I think